what's up, how's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast Rolling Stone Magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to discover the creative workflow of their favorite musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are all sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire Blizzard code CPPod at darkfusionsystems.com. Link to the podcast below. Let's go to our feature presentation. Metalcore, modern metal, and all the expansiveness is showing up on here. We have Ben and Alex from the band Acres all the way from the UK here on the podcast today. They have a brand new album called The Host coming out on May 2nd. Not only do we dive deep into that album and its creation, from them doing it in a 4-week time frame with the one and only Landon Tewers of the Plot in You, but how working with Landon opened up the want and desire and creativity that they've always wanted, alongside the songs on here that you're going to be in need of listening to. And if you're going to see him on the Metalcore Spring Break Tour with Devil's Prada Era and Kingdom of Giants, oh yeah, are you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. If you're a fan of any kind of, heavy music, of course this band is going to have something for you. If they didn't, would I be talking to them? Maybe I still would, but, I'm happy talking today about this stuff. They've got a brand new album called The Host coming out on May 2nd, 2025, bringing a diverse side of modern metal and metalcore right to you, along with supporting this album by supporting Devil Wears Prada Era and Kingdom of Giants on the Spring Break Tour here in the United States. So if you get a chance to go see that tour, definitely go and do it, and be sure to be there on time when it starts because you don't want to miss these guys. Beyond that, though, here's where you're going to get ready for the album. We're going to have a good time with it. So please welcome Ben and Alex from Acres to the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
What's up, man?
That was a sick intro.
Oh, well, thank you. I try and do my best with this, and I never have a plan with it. I just have a note sheet of random things, and I'm like, okay, let's just start going off and having a blast with it, and that's what comes up.
Hey, yeah, that's great.
Well, thank you. But, hey, I know we're recording this right before the album comes out, right before that Spring Break Tour starts. So right now, how you guys doing, especially coming up to album number 3 being released to everybody worldwide?
Excited, man. Really, really excited. This is like, yeah, we went to Detroit in October to track this record. And yeah, even like halfway through the process, I already was so stoked to get it out. So it's way quicker than like a normal album campaign. Normally you would track an album and then it like wouldn't start coming out for like 6 months. So to track this in October and have stuff rolling out last month was wild and super exciting because when we record new music, I'm really eager to get it out. So this has been perfect.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. Very stoked to get it out. It's kind of weird that it is coming out because, like Ben said, we normally sit on a record for like nearly a year. So it's nice to not be sick of the album before you release it. Do you know what I mean?
I would like to say I know what you mean. Unfortunately, I'm not a musician or make my own kind of music, so I'm not in that realm, but it's got to be a very nice thing to have music that you've written, tracked, recorded, everything, and then finally able to get it out rather quickly compared to having to sit on it and wait for a specific campaign, a specific time frame, and be all excited about it. And okay, I got to ask about this then, because so many artists I've talked to, especially around record labels, talk about when they track these albums, they track these, like everything recorded, it's always like half a year to a year before things start rolling out. So what's the difference that you're seeing now, especially between rolling it out directly after, you're recording this stuff so that it's like only a 6-month turnaround versus having to wait sometimes a year and a half?
I mean, like, Acres fashion we release an album and then there's a huge break of just like no music, and it's always been like that, like with an EP into an album into album 2. Obviously COVID hit us pretty hard as a band because we're also spread out in the UK. We don't live near each other to just meet up and hang out and do stuff. So yeah, it was cool to do an EP last year, and then literally the EP dropped as we were in the studio for doing the record. So I was like, this is fucked because we have never been so prepared with music, and especially like a lot of people are expecting the EP songs to be on this new album. So when people are asking, they're like, "Oh, is the EP on the album?" We're like, "Fuck no, it's 10 new songs." And it's like people are like, "That's wild." So yeah, it's exciting just to be going and going and going.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, yeah, like I said, like still being excited about it and not like being sat on it for over a year and just thinking like, oh, did we do a good job? Was it, are these the right songs for the record? And even like when we went to the studio, we had nothing written. So everything that's on the album was written in like the 4 weeks that we were there. So we've had like no chance to like criticize ourselves or second guess or anything. It's just been go, go, go. And I couldn't be more stoked.
I'm really hoping that, we see more and more artists get the opportunity when they create new music and they write new music to get a chance to release it out in the world, like when it's ready and when they want to, compared to having longer layoffs, maybe due to external factors. Again, COVID was one of them, but COVID was just that unique experience that I doubt that anybody's going to go through again in their lifetimes or in our lifetimes. Beyond that, though, I have heard stories, too, about, like, labels when bands have albums that are ready to go or music that's ready to go and they want to wait. It's like, oh, we got to wait to release it at this point in time, but you already have it set and ready to go. I remember From Ashes to New, when they wanted to release music off of Blackout, it took 3 years from their album Panic, but they were, like, had stuff for, like, 2 years. They just wanted to get it out there, but it was external factors or external stakeholders that were holding it back for a specific reason or another. Do you think maybe in the future, as time goes on, that we're going to start to see more and more bands and more artists release music pretty consistently when it gets tracked and recorded and everything? Or are you still going to see this longer time frame in between albums, like a 3-4 year album cycle?
I think, yeah, go ahead, man.
I think that's such a different, it depends what kind of size band you are. I think bands like, say, Bring Me the Horizon can definitely get away with dropping an album, having 2 years off, and everybody still being so excited about that band because of just the size they are. But like new bands, smaller bands like us, like I would like to think we're quite new in America. We're a new band that people are discovering. So it's kind of priority right now that we are just always there and our name's always there. So this was the perfect plan with the EP, is to do the EP, drop all the singles, and then a month or two later straight into the record. So I think definitely for smaller bands and listeners' attentions as well, like you just need something new all the time, especially if you're into a new band. So I think like smaller bands will definitely be doing that more.
Yeah. And I think like albums, we've been hearing for a little while that albums aren't the right move anymore because obviously like people aren't checking them out in its full. Like people are just finding the singles on playlists and stuff. And I know that a lot of bands aren't going to do albums in the future for like the foreseeable, which is great because I think that means that you can focus more on getting the singles out that you like as soon as possible rather than writing another 9 tracks to go with it, 10 tracks to go with it, waiting for your label to give you the green light on, oh, okay, we haven't got any records coming out in this week and there isn't a huge band dropping a record this week, so we can just get it out as soon as possible. But yeah, I think music needs well, not needs, I think people want music to be more accessible and more like ready when they want it. Do you know what I mean? And I think musicians and labels realize that attention spans are getting shorter and people just want to lap up as much as possible at all times with like playlist culture and that kind of stuff. So I think it's going to be a good thing for like singles and stuff to come out. But yeah, I love an album, so let's hope we get this opportunity to get out this quickly again because yeah, it's just nice. Like I keep saying, it's just nice to be still excited about an album and like ready to for other people to hear it rather than being like, okay, I've sat on this for 8 months, a year and a half. I've listened to these songs to death and I don't like them anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Especially, it's you look at like albums that come out beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden by the end of the year, it's like, okay, I got to go through like my album review of the year and like see which albums I think were the best ones. And going back to some of those, from January or February, you listen to them for like 3-4 months, and then you dropped off of them because you just got sick of hearing them over and over again. And then you go back in like October, November, like, why'd I take so much time off? These songs are great, but that's just human nature. It's what happens. I do think you guys, I mean, of course, we're seeing that in music today where it's a single dominated thing, playlist dominated, streaming dominated. And it is more intelligent, I think, Ben, you're right, for younger bands and smaller bands to definitely, if they're going to be recording music, to get it out as quickly as possible to stay relevant in the algorithms, because not saying, play to an algorithm, but use that algorithm to your advantage. So if you're making music, if you got a song in you, and you record it, don't hold on to it and wait for the perfect opportunity to release it, because the perfect opportunity to release it's going to pass you by almost every single time. But we're going to see a reinvention of what the album is from that. And we're already starting to see it with certain people and certain artists, where it's no longer, this idea and these collections of songs. It's like, it's still a collection of songs, but it's more of like an encapsulation of an era of time, where it's like you might be releasing 10, 11 singles, and you might release 9 of them, but then package 2 as the album release. But now it's that collective whole, so you still have that album experience to go back to, and it still has that aura of being a massive collection for a specific theme or a specific time, but you still get the maximization out on what is being used today for music consumption and music delivery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the plot on you, a great example of someone doing that with what they've just done with their like 3 volumes, which is fucking sick, because you put those 3 volumes together, that's a record, and it's a fucking great record. But that was such an interesting way that I'd never seen music done before, like especially dropping 3 or 4 songs just in a collection 1, 2, and 3, and I thought that was sick. That was such a cool idea.
I think I've seen that before. I think for Mash Sanu did that with like some of the COVID stuff, but it was more covers. I think Of Mice and Men did that with their like 2022 album, but it never really caught on with fans, I don't think, until last year with The Plot and You doing those 3 volumes.
Yeah, they're like crushing anything that Plot touches right now tends to go. They're so sick.
So I'm assuming because you guys were out in Michigan recording this for 4 weeks with Landon, that you're hoping that The Plot and You touch is going to come your way too. I turn in Acres' new album into gold, right?
Yeah, I mean, from now on, The Plot on You and Acres come as like a package deal until we say no. But
all right.
I mean, working with Landon, like, I'm a fan of The Plot on You, and was before we even agreed to kind of work with Landon, or that was spoken about. So yeah, to work with him was just really cool. Like, I love his songwriting and love what they're doing. So to get the chance to work with him, write with him, just seemed, and especially out of the UK, we've worked with the same producer for the last 2 records. So someone new, and like Alex said earlier, just having like nothing, getting onto a plane, flying to Detroit with absolutely nothing, and just being like, what the fuck are we going to make? We have no idea, was a very cool, exciting feeling. And yeah, like Landon was just the perfect dude to steer us in almost like a new direction as well.
Interesting. Now I got to ask, especially going through this whole process with Landon, when it came to getting off the plane with no ideas in your head on what this music was going to be, what was that whole creation process like for the host? And the reason I really want to get down and deep with this is because I've had other artists come out of the podcast. I can't remember who it all was. I think In Heart's Wake was one of them, where they traveled to Michigan, specifically from Australia, to record with Landon. And it's just like they learned so much off it. Maybe Until I Wake was one of them too. I can't remember if it was one or both, but every time I hear Landon's name brought up in the podcast in terms of being someone that a band recorded with, I am all in on how this whole entire process went. So again, when it came to recording the host together and with Landon, from nothing off the plane to a full thing within 4 weeks, how did that all happen?
I only went over for the 2 weeks. So we tracked music first. So yeah, for the first 2 weeks, we just turned up at Landon's house. Luckily, we toured together previously, so it didn't take long to like get comfortable around each other and like. But I honestly can't remember. Like, I think we just sat down and we had some demos that we'd released, we'd worked on like previously after the EP, and then yeah, he was just like, so what's the vibe? And we were just like, I don't know. So I think it was just, I honestly can't remember. It happened so quick. Like we did 14 songs. We tracked 14 songs in 2 weeks. So I think the first day was just like talking about it. And then that evening we started writing and he was like, right, cool. Have you got a riff? And I was like, okay, here's a riff. And then he was like, cool, let's work on it. And yeah, that's how it went every day. And it just seems like a bit of a blur because I think there was like one day where me and Asher, the guitarist, just like couldn't think of anything. And it was just I felt super guilty because obviously time was so short and we had like we were imminent, every hour counted while we were there. So, but yeah, I think we ended up at least aiming for like a song and a half a day. So we'd start in the morning and just be like, okay, let's just think of something. Let's get a verse, and then we'd write 2 or 3 verses and be like, okay, the third one's the best one. Okay, now let's try a chorus. Same again. Let's try a few ideas until it's stuck. And it just I don't know why it worked so well, but it did. Like I don't want to sound lame, but it's just like Landon understood what we wanted without us having to say a word because I think he writes everything for plot and he always has done. So he's super knowledgeable. He knows how to write a song, and I think he's really good at taking your idea and just elevating it because I'm just a guitarist. Like I don't play anything else. I can play bass if I have to, but like when it comes to like production and stuff, he was like, "Oh yeah, I've got the perfect like synth arpeggio that could go underneath this," and I was like, "Okay." Like, and we just
I mean,
we just let him cook.
Yeah, the smallest bit of a song, or here's an idea for this. What do you think of this? And he was just like, yeah, lay it down, and then just be sat at his computer, just like, and then he'd be like, what do you think of this? And he'd just play it back, and you're like, yeah, this is fucking dope. Like,
Yeah.
the dude's just a fucking yeah, unhinged good at what he does.
Yeah.
So
It was super insightful as well. Like I learned a lot. I just learned to go with it. Do you know what I mean? Not overthink what I'm playing. Not overthink is it good enough? Is it technical enough? Do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, super fun. Super. It felt like it was going to be stressful, but there was no stress whatsoever. It was only towards like the end of the session where I was like, oh shit, I'm going home in like 2 days. That's when I started panicking. But the first week and a half was so much fun.
Well, it makes sense that was the only time you were panicking because it was a time crunch. It wasn't based on your workability together or the work chemistry you had as a group, as a band, alongside Landon as well. It was, you only had 2 weeks, especially for you, Alex, so you had to get it done in that time. And clearly, I mean, it absolutely worked to the absolute most perfection that it possibly could with what the host has to offer. Beyond that, though, I think that's something that a lot of people always look for and something that they're going to work with in helping create music, produce music, whatever it might be. Working with Landon on this, every artist I've heard talk about him or work with him has always brought up the fact that working with Landon ends up being like this most seamless thing where he just understands you without even saying a word, understands exactly what you're going for. That's just the musical genius behind this guy. You're seeing it in everything that Plot's done. Anything he touches right now is really having that piece behind him. I remember talking with him back, I think it was 2021, right when new music, like live music, was coming back after the pandemic. Had him on the podcast, and he said he might not ever like go out and tour again because he was just enjoying the process of making music and going about it that way. Well, I mean, he definitely has that, niche down path, but he also has a lot of great stuff with Plot and you too. So seeing them constantly go out on tour now, I'm like, my God, that dude's one of the hardest working guys in music, but it makes sense. But if you have someone like that where you guys are working with that just instantly understands it, now that free flow feel can go. There's no worry about anything in regards to how does it sound? Is it technical enough? Is it structured in a way that's going to be catchy? Is this, heavy enough? You're just going by basically what feels right to you as a songwriter, what feels right to you as an artist, and you have someone in your corner that is able to amplify that to the umpteenth degree. That is where greatness really comes from, and that's where a dynamic record like The Host can come from too.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted Landon as I've always said that when doing a record or writing a record or producing a record, like that producer I want as like a fifth member, a fifth opinion. If something sucks, I want to be told. I just don't want someone to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna hurt your feelings. I'm not gonna tell you." And Landon, like you said, he is one of the hardest working dudes. When we got into the studio to pretty much the time we finished, he was sat in front of that computer, like not even really stopping for lunch. And I remember even saying to the boys, like, "He don't fucking stop. It's crazy." And the great thing with Landon is when he is passionate about it and he's enjoying it, he's all fucking in. And if there's something he doesn't like or he thinks could be cooler, he's just like, "Yeah, this could be better." And that's what I want to hear. I want someone to push us to be the best we can be as well. And he absolutely nailed that.
Oh, after listening through the record, I think he absolutely nailed that. And as much as I'd like to continue to talk about you guys working with Landon, I do want to get into this record, given the fact that, again, I've listened through it. I've been pretty much prepped on this thing since the jump. But the thing that stood out to me about listening through these songs was the fact that I could tell it definitely went off of something that you guys were feeling, and it was just not letting any preconceived notion come in and wondering, again, is it structured this specific way? Is it heavy enough? Is the chorus catchy enough? Because all these songs have, at times, a completely different identity and feel to them while still sticking in that Acres mold in terms of a core sound. So how did that all come into work? Because these songs have that dynamic between all of them.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty on this record was, especially vocally, lyrically, Jack, our bassist for the first time, wrote songs, did melodies, and he did a lot of like the heavier stuff, whereas probably some of the sounds that you hear or the songs you hear, which again sound like the Acres you're familiar with, was me. So it was really nice to have him have his hand in writing, especially on the heavy parts, because my brain is molded to how I write, to how I structure melodies. So having someone totally new come in and be like, "Cool, here you go," and as well as like Landon's help on ideas and stuff was so that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah, and I think like musically, we just didn't want to write the same song twice at all, ever. It was just like, okay, this song is a pop song, and then we'll write like the hardest breakdown we've ever written the next day, and then we'll try and write like something with like a trap beat or I don't know. We just tried everything. I think Landon was just very good at like, yo, he would always say, I want to try a song with this kind of vibe. And especially like Still the Light is a great example. He just sat us down and was like, right, I've got an idea. I want to write a song with like a samba beat. And I was just like, what? and it worked. Do you know what I mean? So he was just like, we're just throwing ideas at the wall, and whatever stuck, and we ran with it. Because at the end of the day, I think like working with Landon, we worked with him because of obviously the plot have such a large like range on all of their music. It's like you've got Don't Look Away, and then you've got Closure. Do you know what I mean? Like they do what we've always strived to do, and it's to just change it up as much as possible while keeping like the same identity there. And I think, yeah, he was the perfect guy for it. And I think we're always going to continue to do stuff like that. Like every time we talk about an Acres record, we always say, oh, we've written the heaviest song Acres will ever do. And we've said that like 5 times. So, yeah, it's just really refreshing to like have someone who's doing what you have been trying to do help you achieve something like that you're so proud of. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, there's also no conversations of like, I know some bands will, "Oh, this song doesn't fit on this record," or "This song doesn't sound like it should be on this album." There was like none of that. We just rolled with it, and if everybody was liking it and enjoying it, then we were like, "This is sick." Like, so there was no like box, no real ceiling for what we had to make or to sound like. We all enjoyed the thought of just, what the fuck are we going to write next? We have no idea.
Yeah, as long as you guys are enjoying the process, that is truly what matters in this. And I had recently a conversation with Aaron Nordstrom, lead vocals from Gemini Syndrome, and it was about this very similar thing where we were talking about, when you got to Steal the Light and Landon's like, let's try something out with a samba beat. When music, there's only a finite amount of notes that you can actually work with. It's a structure. So it's not about what notes you can use because everyone's using those. It's what can you do with that in a different way for yourself that makes it stand out. So by going with, okay, we want to use a sound beat, we want to maybe go with something that's a little more, with a funk, maybe do something that has like a trap beat to it, maybe something that's a little bit more EDM driven, something that's just heavy, something that it has more of that post-hardcore emotional flow to it, maybe a little bit more of a ballad feel or maybe an anthemic ballad to really set the tone for a specific thing. In the end, when you're writing this stuff and you're working with someone who is also working in that same kind of a headspace, the creativity is going to flow. The freedom to do that is going to happen. And some of the greatest ideas that you're going to have to create music is going to come from those moments. And they're going to come out on an album. Maybe if it's like, oh, this album doesn't have one whole cohesive flow to it. Well, maybe it's not supposed to have a whole cohesive flow to it. Maybe each song's supposed to have its own identity, and the identities that they all combine together create the identity of that album. But every single song in that is going to have the core message and the core feel of what Acres is, due to the fact that Acres is the one that's writing this. Each all have their own individual mindset styles, lyrically writing styles, vocal writing styles, guitars, drums, bass, whatever it might be, even programming. But because it's all coming from you guys, there's going to be a core that's going to be in the middle of it that everyone can kind of attract back to. That's what makes bands that go off and try and do some of these crazy things really stand out overall. And I'll still say it, Bring Me the Horizon's the best example we got right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
No, I agree. That band are like flawless, and it just keeps it interesting as well. Like Alex said, or someone said, having the same song 10 times sucks. And I hate it when bands when you listen to an album and there's a band with that sound and they nailed it on an album, it's great. And then when they try and do it again and it's just not so good, it's just like, fuck. So we have always said with each album, we want to show like an evolution of Acres and it not to sound like the last one. You have something like Lonely World, which is quicker than anything we've ever done, like EP wise. And then Burning Thrones, like, again, faster, heavier, different, and then now this one is just, again, and like Alex said, maybe with album 4 or something, we'll just expand that more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, album 4 is going to be deathcore.
Album 4 is going to be deathcore mixed with any kind of Latin beat you can think of, samba, something that's going to bring that salsa flavor to it. Anything that's going to bring out just something crazy, you guys are going to end up potentially going down. But it all depends upon, again, at that point in time, what you want to do at that time. But I also think, too, that especially as the years go on, not only for Acres, but a large number of bands that I have talked to and a larger bands in the heavy music scene in general are going to continue to evolve and experiment with their sound and see whatever hits at that time, because we have so much music to our disposal and we have the ability to actually see artists evolve over time. And there's times where we want to go along with them on that journey. There are plenty of artists from, previous, decades, previous eras that when they made a record and they hit a sound, they kept that sound consistent from every single record. I'm just trying to think of some examples from maybe Kiss is probably a great example. If you listen to a Kiss record from, 1970 to whatever they came out with, their most recent one, it probably has a very similar flow to it, much like AC/DC. Nothing wrong with that, but in today's, in an evolved music scene beyond, the 2000s, I would say, you get this feeling that people want to see expanding sounds. They want to see what a band can really do, because if you stick solely within that one sound, you're limiting the creativity and the expression that can happen. And as times change, you're going to be influenced by new things. New sounds are going to end up striking you, and you can create something that's absolutely incredible off it that is authentically you guys. So why not go and actually keep that route open instead of, don't close it up. Leave that lane open. You never know what greatness might come from it.
Yeah, I think collectively, just to expand on that, Thrice are probably one of my favorite bands for that exact reason. Every Thrice record is a practically a different band. Do you know what I mean? And I've always loved that about them. And I think that was the model that I wanted Acres to go down. Like, and we've just it's like Ben said, we just want to keep people on their toes. We want to make sure that like people it sounds the same as like the worst thing that we could hear as a band, because you just no one wants to stagnate, no one wants to get stale, and yeah. I'm very, very. It is fun as well. Like, do you know what I mean? It's fun to like just try something insane that you would never try 4 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, one of the songs is in like an octave below drop B. When would I have ever have done that? Do you know what I mean? Like, even adding like seven strings into the mix, I wouldn't. If you would have told me that I would be playing a seven string like 3 years ago, I probably would have been like, "You're high." Like. And yeah, it's just fun to try new things, to use new things, to like, it's just keep it fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one wants to listen to the same record over and over and over again. And every band that has fallen into that like pitfall has always come out and said, yeah, we did that. Like, I think I don't want to shit on them because they're incredible, but like Architects wrote the same record 3 times. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they've even come out and said like, yeah, our bad, we'll try harder. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like, let's say the most recent Architects record, like the Sky, Earth, and everything in between.
Oh,
damn,
insane.
That was good.
Yeah, so good for the right reasons. Do you know what I mean? They every song sounds like a different record or a different band. Do you know what I mean? And I just think that's like super fun to do, super important to do as well. Like, just to keep people interested and like to keep it fun.
Yeah, I think to keep it fun, and I think like it's this day and age, keeping people's attention, like I said, in music is super hard. Like, look how many bands you can discover. Music has never been so like accessible than it is right now. You can sit on Google and type in your hometown and find a list of every single band that come from there. So I think, a person keeping it fresh and changing up and just trying new shit right now is important, especially for new bands. Back at like Kiss, AC/DC, solid albums, did everything great, but I guess music was harder to find. If you knew that band, you knew them, but the only way you'd ever find bands back in there was just go into shows. There was no Google, there was no like phones or Googling who the fuck was playing and what does it sound like on Spotify? You had to go to the show and listen to them. So I think just keeping it fresh, trying to keep people excited is just important.
And that's one thing too. I hope a lot of younger bands, or especially bands that are still in their local music scenes, end up taking with them, because you might get a song that hits and that people really get into, and you don't want to fall into the trap of, okay, people like this song, we have to stick to this sound and make a song around this, because you can continue to have that song, but you can build on it and you can continue to grow, and you never know what crazy ideas might come up. Before you know it, all of a sudden we could get a song on the next, EP album, whatever you guys come out with, of Acres featuring bandmate or Hanabiye from Japan. We could see something where all of a sudden we get, find some band that's from, the Slavic area of Europe, and it's just their sound fits so well with what you guys are trying to do. It's like, okay, let's collaborate here, see what happens. You guys might come to the US, see something, be inspired by it, and write a song that is based off of that experience and the sound that molded around there. And it could be something that takes a different turn than anything you've done yet. But being open to that creativity and experience is what shows growth. But at the same time, like you said, Alex, it's just so much more fun when you leave everything open to potential.
Yeah, for sure.
So I hope you guys continue to do that. One of my favorite questions to ask, especially when we have new music coming out from an artist, is to ask a very specific thing. And it is not what your favorite song on the record is. I hate asking that question because it's like picking your favorite kids. We're not going to make you do that. But we're going to do it in a slight variation. We know that the singles are out there right now as of the recording of this. We want to make sure that, we don't include those because people have heard those. But out of the non-singles, which one of those non-singles are you most excited for people to hear and why?
Welcome to the family. Because it's just ridiculous. And I don't obviously if this record, is this going to be out when the record comes out? Because I don't want to spoil it.
I'm going to put this out before the record comes out, like maybe the week of the record coming out or the week before. So just at that point, tease it. Don't fully spoil it.
Yeah. it's just ridiculously heavy. Like, so heavy. And that's why it's my favorite.
Yeah, I go through like spats when I listen to the record. Like the last time I listened to the record and thought, "Fuck, this should be a single," was probably Not So Different.
Yeah.
That was when I was just like, "I love this song. Why didn't we choose this to be a single?" So
Now I see. I get both of those too because listening to Welcome Family, I'm just like, my God, why can't people hear this right now? It's gonna be absolute massive thing. But again, that might be the beauty of it, where it's not out yet. So maybe the only way you get to hear it before it comes out is if you go see them play it live on the spring break tour. If they're playing live, I don't know. But you know what? Maybe we're putting it out there as a little thing for you guys to go and check it out, because if you want to go manic in the pit, that's the song for you to go absolute ape crazy to. But I do also agree with you, Ben. With Not So Different, because I'm looking through like my whole note sheet on it. I went through every single song, and that's the point where, especially it's track number 2, I like this. The album, it just opens up so expansively to what the potential is, because I think when track number 1, it was Bloodlust, so it's okay. We get it's already out as a single. We see it, the style it's going in, but then you get to Not So Different. It's like it takes a different direction on the idea of what your band can truly be, and just shows so much more of that potential. So it was like that. Where did this come from? But how much more is left to discover? It was that exciting, this is new, but there is so much more left. That moment happened.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think there's a few of those moments on the album, which is really cool. The ending as well. Like, I love how the album ends with "Welcome to the Family" into like "Around Again," because you're listening to that, you're just like, what the fuck? Like, this is gone from like heaviest to the nicest song on the record, and I love that. And when we kind of put that in that order, I was like, yeah, this is sick.
Yeah, that changeover, I was going to say, was like you're driving, like 100 miles an hour down the highway, just absolutely having a blast. And then you slam on your brakes, not because there's something in front of you, but because there's a majestic view as you're driving through the mountains outside your window, and you just got to stop and take a look. Like, that's what that transition felt like.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I gauged just a lot of what I would listen to in the car, and do you remember that Live song? Is it Mother? Where it just the ending just repeats and repeats and repeats and fades out. And I remember just listening to that and just driving and being like, I could listen to this fade out all day. Like, that's kind of what I wanted from the end of the album. Just when you're really locked in, listening to something while you're driving, and you get that like good feeling. That's what I got with some records, and that's what I wanted from this.
Well, I hope everyone, be sure if you're going to listen to this record, or when you listen to this record, it should be a when. Make sure if you're doing it in the car, make sure your brakes are not only tested, but also properly working, because you may have that moment where you just stop on a dime because that transition happens and you just want to let it in and just really, really, really enjoy. So, yeah, just get ready for that. So I'm going to end up, going to my mechanic and getting my brakes checked out right after this to make sure that doesn't happen on May 2nd.
We're going to be the safety voice of America now.
Someone's got to be.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Perfectly fine. But of course, not only are you guys releasing a new album, but to support this album, you guys are going out on the spring break tour with Devil Wears Prada, Era, and Kingdom of Giants. So for everyone that is either going this tour or is like, okay, I want to go through, but I'm not sure if I should go, I got to hear the pitch from you guys. What can they expect to see from you guys on this tour that's going to make them fall in love with Acres if they haven't already?
Oh, God. I don't know. I'm wearing overalls. I think I'm the most excited about this tour than anyone ever could be, because Plagues by Prada is like my album. I have it on CD behind me. Like I got it the week it was released. It was like I listened to that to death. Like I'm 32, so I was very much in like the whole MySpace era and discovering like the first Prada like EP. I was just like, wow. And I listened to that band religiously. Like So when we got the call, we were recording with Landon when we got the call, and we'd already announced like the plot tour that we just did. Um, and we I don't know if we had announced it at the time, but we already had that booked in, and obviously that was like the longest tour we've ever done as a band, especially like, and it was in America, and we were
Mhm.
already in America recording a record, and then we got asked if we're going to do that tour, and we were all like, yeah, we're going to do it, but we all left the room at the same time just to talk to our like partners and be like, is it okay? And as soon as we got like the green light, I was so buzzing.
I'm
I've
So
pretty
yeah,
never
sure.
listened.
you can expect me to see me side stage every night watching Prada with like heart eye emojis. That's why you should come.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
never
I'm pretty. I was say I'm pretty sure, Alex, that even when you got the call, even if your some other your partner was like, "Oh, I'm not sure," maybe we got this plan, you're gonna be like, "Well, I'm doing it anyway because this is
Yeah,
Prada. Like, there is no way I'm not going on this tour."
I would have flushed my phone down the toilet if she said no.
Oh, that would have been one hell of a story, though. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's just like, well, why'd you lose your phone? Flush down the toilet to make sure I got to go on tour with Devil Wears Prada and Era
exactly.
and King of the
Exactly.
Giants and have a blast with it. Like this was happening. So maybe always check in, for every other band out there, check in, with your family to make sure that that everything is good on this front. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and if it involves flushing a phone down the toilet or wearing overalls on stage, you got to do it, right?
Exactly.
But I also completely forgot you guys were on that Plot and you tour even earlier, in 2025 as well. And I'm kind of miffed that I missed it just due to the fact that I was out of, anywhere near where it was when it was around me. And I was like, man, I wanted to go see because it's you guys, Plot and you, and wasn't holding absence on that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And boundaries.
And Boundaries, my God, that's just a mix of like you're gonna have great music every step of the way. It depends upon the heaviness level of are you just gonna get heavy and brutal with it, or are you gonna get heavy in the emotional side of things? It's gonna go every which way. With this upcoming tour though, it's just gonna be one hell of a great time, and you're just gonna want to go there. You're gonna want to go see Acres play. You're gonna want to go see them play every single night that you possibly can because you're going to get a chance to listen to maybe some of these songs live if they're ready. Maybe you get a sneak peek at Welcome to the Family. I don't know, but maybe I'm just sprinkling it in there because that would be one hell of a treat for everybody. And if they heard that, it'd be like, okay, this song absolutely slaps. We got to go find out everything we can about Acres. And then every single publication, Loudwire, Kerrang, Metal Injection, Blabbermouth, Revolver Magazine's like, this song is an absolute mammoth. It's not even out yet, so get ready because May 2nd, here it comes.
Oh yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get people's hopes up because we might not play it, but there's a chance.
I
I'm,
think
I'm
we've been playing Built to Bleed on these tours, which is
Yeah.
really fucking fun, and people have really enjoyed that. And we've had a lot of comments already, like when's Built to Bleed dropping? Just like soon. It's not coming yet, but so like the new shit's been going down well live. It's cool.
I was going to expect the new shit to go down level, especially when you brought up Blood to Bleed. I'm like, yep, that's going to be another one that if it's on the the set list, that's going to be one that I think is going to at first throw people off like it did with me. But by the end of it, I'm just like, I was not expecting to go that route. But holy shit, the confidence in that song to go that route. Yeah, it is an absolute difference maker on an album that is full of difference makers.
Yeah, it's so much fun to play live. Like I don't think I've had more fun on stage than playing Built to Bleed because yeah, I've never had to play a song like that on stage, and it's just yeah, mad fun. And the reaction was always great because yeah, it's just a wild song.
And that makes me personally very disappointed because the Metalcore Spring Break Tour is not coming anywhere near me. So, shit.
Where are you?
I currently live 90 miles north of the city of Chicago, and I don't think there's anything within like 4 hours of me. So I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah, my geography is terrible, so
Yeah, dude. I look at that tour poster. I'm like, I don't know any
Yeah, right.
We were in these cities and people were like, "When are you coming back?" We're like, "Well, we're back with Devil Wears Prada in a couple of weeks. Where are you playing close to here or here?" And I was just like, "Dude, I got no idea." Like,
Yeah.
here.
I'd legit hand over my phone.
Yeah.
Well, I decided instead of handing over the phone, I'm like, I gotta look this up now to actually see all the dates and everything, because otherwise I'm gonna be mad if I don't. Yeah, it's a lot of places where it's like they're great places to go and play shows, but it's just like they're certain places that you always expect that just aren't on the list this time. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but shoot, I totally forgot though, because I'm looking at the list right now. And I see that there is a stop in Columbus, Ohio for Sonic Temple Fest. I can't remember if you guys are playing that or not.
No, we're not.
No, we're just gonna go and hang.
Yeah, we're gonna go hang out.
Well, then that might be my time to actually get to potentially see part of this live because I'll be there too.
Oh,
Nice.
sick.
Be like, yeah, just, a little parking lot set for makers, have a blast with it. You never know. Might work. Silly Goose does it all the time. Just all depends if you guys get to the next show the next day. That's really what matters.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, outside of Metalcore Spring Break Tour and outside of the host coming out on May 2nd, what else can we expect from you guys in 2025?
Nothing. Yeah, no, we're done after that. So see you later. No, we're not sure. There's been a lot of like chat and there's been a lot of like things which are all up in the air. So we legit have like nothing set in concrete apart from releasing the record and going out with Prada and Error and Kingdom of Giants. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's bits on that we were supposed to go to Australia straight after that tour. That
Yeah.
didn't happen. Australia's in the works. Australian fans will be pleased to know we're excited to get to Australia. So yeah, we're just like there's things, but we're working them out. But right now, it's just Devil tour and just getting this
Oh,
record out.
we got the Beartooth shows as well with Gideon and Cowboys. Yeah. Yeah, we've got 3 Beartooth shows with Gideon and Dallas Cowboys. Callous Cowboys, sorry.
I was gonna say, if you
Yeah,
guys got it with the Dallas Cowboys, either people are gonna be very angry or it's gonna be one of the biggest shows of the year. I mean, it all depends
yeah.
upon what American football fans are into at that time.
If not, I'll dress up as an American football player just to appease anyone I upset.
If you went out there and dressed in a Dallas Cowboys uniform and played on stage right before the Dallas Cowboys went up on stage, I'm pretty sure that would be easily the most memorable thing from the entire night.
All right, I'll do it.
But we have to find a specific jersey for you to wear, and I think the specific one is from the 2001 Thanksgiving game halftime show that the Cowboys played, where Creed came out and Scott Stapp was wearing a number 11 Cowboys road jersey and his name was on the back.
Is that the one where they had the guy like flying through the air with like the
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I want that. I want that jacket. I want it to say higher on the back.
Hey, you never know. Someone might make that and just send it your way, or it might be just there at the show waiting for you.
Or my sacrifice. That might be harder. Either or,
It'll work. But I got one more question for you guys before we wrap this up. It's something I love to ask every artist we bring on this podcast. Way for us to get to know more new music and for you to get to support the music you love. I'm going to have to limit it to 3 so we don't go way too overboard with this. But between the two of you, can you guys name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
Oh. Like smaller bands.
Yeah, that's kind of usually where I go for, unless there's a band you're like, this band is massively underrated. You guys need to listen to me if you might know them, but either or, just whoever you think needs to or deserves a lot more attention.
Oh, dude, that's hard.
That is hard.
I went to see my friends in Mouth Culture a couple of nights ago. They're phenomenal. We took them out on tour a couple of years ago, and they're so good live. That's one of mine.
I don't even know who the fuck I'm listening to at the moment. God.
I'll say, don't worry. Usually I ask this question about half the time. People are like, I have no idea what to answer for this. And then they're like, I got to look through. I'm looking at on Spotify or I'm listening to just, figure it out from there.
Yeah, we'll be done with this now. I'll be like, oh, why didn't I say that band? Why didn't I say that band?
Are we
That's
doing
also
three between us?
Yeah,
Is
three
it three
between the
between
two
us
of
or
you.
three each?
Three total.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think Mouth Culture is a good one.
Yeah, Mouth Culture is a great one. Great band. I don't fucking know who else. Dude, when I'm off tour, I'm not listening to fucking anything. I hear like breakdance and shit for a month, and when I get home, I'm just like, I don't want to listen to music. I don't want to do fucking anything to do with music.
I might have to go to my phone. Let me see who I've been listening to recently.
Yeah, if you got to go to the phone, go to the phone. Half people do that anyway. So
I'll give Harper a little plug. My stepdaughter Harper, she's sick.
Yeah, Harper's a shout. Right, one more. I've been listening to this band called Wayside. They're pretty good. It's like a grungy, like shoegazy thing. Who else do I like? Soul Blind. I don't know. Creed. They need more.
They need their numbers to go higher.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to shout out Friends. Do you know what I mean? Who else do I like? Boundaries, incredible band, my new favorite band. Yeah, let's go. Harper, Boundaries, and Mouth Culture.
That's what this is for. It's to shout out, people you think deserve more notice, more listens, more eyes on them. But also, if they're friends too, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what this is meant for. Let's help out people. Let's help out bands get more notice. And that's why I asked the question. So I want to thank you guys for that. And also want to thank both you guys for taking the time today to be on the Chord Progression Podcast. I always appreciate artists taking the time to do this stuff. So I want to thank you once again. We're going to close out this episode with three things. First things first. This is Acres, guys. They got a brand new album called The Host coming out on May 2nd, 2025. And they're going to be on the Metalcore Spring Break Tour with Devil Wears Prada Era and Kingdom of Giants to support it in April and May of 2025. So here's what you're going to do to become the biggest fan of Acres possible, the biggest supporter of Acres possible. Description of the podcast, say find Acres online, links, labels for everything you're going to be there, social media-wise, YouTube, where to stream the album, where to pre-order, where to pre-save, where to get tickets for the Metalcore Spring Break Tour, and also just become a fan of the band in general. It's all down there. I'm doing all of the research for you, so all you gotta do is click the link and go and take care of it from there. So be sure to do that. Now it's time for number 2, gentlemen. Whenever I'm guesting the podcast, I enjoy the podcast, I have a promise I like to make as a way to say thank you, and I wish to continue to support you in the future. So you guys absolutely hit on this, and my promise to you is this: when, implying this is going to happen, I just don't have a day or time, but when I see you guys perform live for the first time, I will find a way to come and find you guys and say hello, but that's not the real promise. The promise is first round's on me.
Respect.
Oh, yeah.
And
great, man.
And it can, I've had some times where it gets real wacky with that, where whole cases of beer end up getting bought for that. It's fun. It can be fun, except for my bank account, then it really hates me. But that's on a different topic. Now it's time for number 3. As we bring this episode to a conclusion, I cannot end this by saying goodbye. That is way too final. This was fantastic. I want to make sure I make that promise happen. And of course, I would love to bring you guys both back on the podcast again in the future. So this cannot be goodbye. This is, I'll see you later.
Nice one, man.
Woo! Well, folks, my interview with Ben and Alex from the band Acres. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. And my final thought is this. I want to see more artists and more young musicians and anybody else out there when it comes to music do what Acres essentially did here in their own way. And what I mean by that is what Acres ended up doing by going in to work on this album, The Host, with Landon Tewers, The Plot, and You, and did over a 4-week time frame. They stayed open and willing to whatever was going to come their way. They did not limit themselves to something of like, we have to stay in a specific sound, or this song was one of our best songs, we have to do something similar like that, or we can't go and try and venture out in different things. They stayed open to what they thought was right at that time, what they were inspired by, and out of it came an album that is really dynamic, that has a lot of different intricacies in there, and is a fun listen to, because it's like a treasure hunt, or it's like a scavenger hunt. You never know what's going to be the thing that pops up next that gets you to the finish line. And by doing that, I mean, we're seeing more and more artists really do that and show that by going out on their own path and being inspired by whatever they're inspired by at the moment is the way to go. Bring Me the Horizon, Sleep Token. I'll even throw Falling in Reverse in there as well. They're doing this because that's what they want to do, and they are absolutely winning because of it. And as a younger band, or as a younger musician, or a band trying to get going, yeah, it's going to be hard to resist continuing on with the same sound, especially if you have a hit on that sound. But continue to be expansive, continue to be inventive. That's what got you to that first sound in the first place. That's going to get you to the next one and continue to expand on what you're able to do over and over again. I want to thank Ben and Alex for coming on the podcast. Please make sure to go follow Acres and check them all out. Description of the podcast below, links, labels for everything, social media wise, where you can find their music, where you can pre-order and stream the host when it comes out. You can also go and get tickets to the Metalcore Spring Break Tour, and of course, get some merch all down there. Please remember to follow us on the Chord Progression Podcast. Links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are also right here on YouTube, so hit the subscribe button right here. But if you're on Spotify Podcast, hey, I love you guys too. Hit the follow, subscribe button there to be sure to follow along the Chord Progression Podcast on everything we have. New episodes every single Tuesday and Thursday. Also, the like button right down here, because that helps push this episode in the algorithm. And come on, you don't want to help people get more new music? I know you do. Hit the like button. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Alex. And that's good for me, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. So the big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah!